Hey everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. This week I'm working with this cute stamp set. It is available already in the Stampin' Up! Store. It was part of an online exclusives. And I love the woodland animals. I live in North Carolina. We have all these things in our woods, so I love them all. This one right here is one single stamp. So it looks like a Christmas tree shape. And then you've got all these extra little guys that you can use for other occasions or separately. Lots of fun little holiday sentiments. May your Christmas be merry and bright. Sending love, enjoyed this Christmas. I love that one. Christmas cheer for all to hear. And holiday greetings, which I love how little that is. And I used it on, I think, all of my cards pretty much. So I'm going to show you 5 different cards, from the hardest to the easiest, because the first thing people say is, but I have to color all of those. Well, I mean, coloring is fun, but I do have a few options for not coloring. My friend Jeannie asked me how to make this sample that was in the Stampin' Up! Online store, where all the samples are for this stamp set. This was done by one of the Stampin' Up! Artisans. And she asked how they got that perfect tear. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'll show you the one that I did. Theirs is very soft. It looks like they did watercolor. They made it very soft. I wanted my colors to be a little bit darker. So I ended up doing this one, which I really like a lot. And there's a new embossing folder back here. It's a really big embossing folder that looks like a piece of wood, which worked out really well for the background, which is what the Stampin' Up! Artisans did. So let me show you how I got that. If you have a triangle die, good for you, use that. I did not. So I'm using Secret C, which is my favorite black ink pad. Even though it's super dark blue, it's my go-to for black ink. It's so close to black, you know, and it just stamps like a dream. I just love it so much. Okay, now look how cute these guys are. Aren't they adorable? Okay, so to get this, you're gonna need a ruler and a stylus, like one of these guys, or a pen that doesn't have the ink in it, something like that. Something to score. Now, I see how it's kind of hard to see. So with my rulers, I have a hard time seeing through here. So a lot of times I will use one of my embossing plates, a nicer one that's not all scarred up so you can see what you're doing. But what you want to do is you want to kind of come up here and make a little mark. Now you can use a pencil or a pen or something, of course, but I want to use this because we're going to tear it afterwards. And you don't even have to wet it. It's going to look great. I'll show you. I did try it with a foam mat underneath and it ripped my paper. So we're not going to do that. Now actually I'm going to start with the bottom first and make sure that's pretty even. Score that. And I'm digging in there pretty hard. Then I can line up this. Now there's going to be some extra space in there because the way the triangle is, and even on their sample it was like that. So you're going to have a little extra room up there because you got to make it around his antlers and the berries. And you want to get it a nice triangle right there. And then the other side. Now I know you can't see the score lines probably like I can, but they're there. But see how using one of these plates as a ruler is so nice, just because you can see through it. I can't measure with it, but I don't need to. Okay, now, at this point, you can cut with scissors. You can put it in your paper cutter and you can do that. And I'll show you a sample where it's not torn. But what we're going for is this natural tear all the way around. So you want to fold this back and forth. Use your nail or your bone folder like that. Pinch, 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 and then tear. Tear, 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 tear. Same thing on this side. Now I don't know if this is how they did theirs. I mean, they don't give us instructions. I can kind of see maybe they scored it a little bit right here, but this is what worked for me. Back and forth, and break the paper fibers down a little bit. Okay, and then you can tear. Just like that. Ta-da. And the bottom. Now, here's a few tips for coloring. I won't put you through the agony of watching me color everything. I will post the recipes, which have all the colors that I use, but one tip, if you want a black bear like we have here in North Carolina, instead of using the black blends, you want to use the dark smoky slate, a very, very dark gray instead of black, because black will totally take out all of his little lines, okay? So that, and then I use pecan pie. This one is Timid Tiger, which is perfect for the fox. And then a few yellow and the reds for the birds. And the little bunny was gray granite, I think. So it was really kind of, oh, and azure is for the little pops of blue. But again, I will post the recipe with all the colors that I used. But that is how you get the tear. And then, you know, if you want to, you can rough it up a little more. But that's how I did that. And then I just added the holiday greetings. I embossed that in white because when you emboss it, you love them a little bit more. Little stitched green behind it. Just taking from what they did in the catalog, how they just did this and they put a little square behind it. So thank you, Stampin' Up, for the inspiration. All right, card number 2. Now, I wanted to do something that was not Christmas. Oh my gosh, I love this card so much. It was a lot to fussy cut it, I'll tell you right now, but it's worth it. There's a new die in here also. So we're gonna stamp it. I'm not gonna cut it all out for you, but I will give you the basics on it so you can try it. So we're gonna stamp it again in the Secret C on white. Now when you mount it, cut it out and you mount it to a card, this whole area, unless you go in and try to cut out all of these little areas, they need to be in the same color as your background. Otherwise it looks funny. Because when that goes on top of here and you fussy cut this out and this part's white and your background is blue, it looks funny. So what you want to do is you want to color in between everything. So I went in and I cut off everything that I didn't want kind of loosely like this. Just went in and cut everything out loosely. And this little buck, the deer, is now going to be a doe because I didn't want to cut out the antlers. So we're just going to go in here and now it's a doe. Easy. And this little guy here, we're going to cut off the ornament and we're going to cut off the star here, and we're going to have a balloon there instead. So I just kind of worked my way around, cutting off everything that I didn't want. So when you're done, it'll look like this. So because I knew that I wanted this background to be balmy blue, I'm going to take my balmy blue marker, and any place that all that white where you're supposed to be looking through it, if that makes sense, we're going to add the blue. I'm going really quickly here just so that you don't fall asleep, but even around the little edges, and just go through and fill in every place that you would be looking through, if that makes sense. And you do that all the way around before you color it. And then you can color as you normally would. Now, these are new dies that are coming out the beginning of September in the holiday catalog, the Scallop Christmas Cheer dies. So I used one of these. Now they don't cut out the rectangle, which I don't mind, actually. So they're solid, but there is a little stitch all the way around each one of these. And then I did my balmy blue, which will go right here. Now, one thing I want to say, make sure that you get the edges really, really pushed down, because this embossing folder, if you can see it, look. It's really cool. It does make the paper a little wavy though, so you kind of have to make sure it's really glued down well. This embossing folder is called the Softly Woven. And my friend Connie, she said, if you combine a plaid folder and the old subtle folder, it has the little embossing folder baby called Softly Woven, and she did them together and they look great. So if you happen to have a plaid folder and the old subtle folder, it looks like this, which is kind of cool. This is a really big one though, which is nice. You know, you get 2 out of 1 basically. And it creates this really nice, can you see it? That pattern. So it's very linen-like. So whatever taper glue you like to use, just make sure that it's all the way around and there's no edges lifting up. It just looks better that way. So this is the size of the card front. It's about 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 already. So you'll need one of these little guys behind it. I'll give you the measurement for that, but that just goes back here like a kickstand for your card. And yes, it will still stand up, which is nice. Okay, so it'll still stand. And then I thought I could just add these little guys on here, but look, this frame is so nice. I took my arches, you know how we do, we put the 2 of them together on a piece of white cardstock, tape them down carefully so you just get this little guy right here, and it just sets the whole card off, I think, really nicely. I added a happy birthday, and I added a little heart balloon. I didn't have a little tiny balloon, so I used the bee punch and this little wing, which is a heart. I just used that in white and added a little wire there. Maybe if you can see it, look. Just to make him a birthday card, which I love. Now look at the inside. Oh my gosh. So cute. I have to give that to somebody here in my neighborhood who loves animals, loves all of our woodland creatures. All right, that's card number 2. Number 3 was using the stamps and fussy cutting, but not coloring. Not really. I did have to color a little. My basic gray. So stamping it again with a black ink, or I used the Secret C, fussy cutting that out. And then for the fox on the Timid Tiger, the white gel pen is amazing to just going in and adding those white accents that the fox has. Look how cute he is. I can even go back in and touch that up a little. There we go. I just went around, and I did have to dot the eyes back in because I colored over them, but it came out okay. So here I did fussy cut around the antlers. I left him to be a buck this time. And then I just made a little tree out of garden green, ran it through that same embossing folder that I just used. And this twine in the new catalog coming out, the holiday catalog, they have all this jute, natural jute and espresso and crumb cake and like a vanilla and a pine or a mossy meadow. I think it's mossy meadow and a pecan. So it's like 5 yards each, I think. So just to keep it really natural looking, I wanted it to, you know, if the animals decorated a tree, they would use natural supplies, little berries. So I took some pearls and I colored them red with my blends and stuck those on there. A few little pearls up here just to, you know, like it's snow, a bird carrying a little thing that's in the stamp set also. And my fox and my deer and a little bit of snow. All right, that's card number 3. Card number 4 is even easier. This is just embossing. So I did a little bit of white embossing powder on the Peaceful Pine cardstock and then cut that out with the postage. I forget what that's called. It looks like a postage stamp. Anyway, I'll put it in the recipe for you, but they're still around. So I just kind of liked how that looked. And then this paper, I've got just a little snippet of it back there. But this paper is just gorgeous. This is another one of the ones that's coming out in September. It's glossy and it's got like silver on it. It's really pretty. It's one-sided, nice and heavy, and it's just so pretty. It's got all these silver foil accents in there. I will be doing my paper shares and my ribbon and embellishments. I'll be posting those on the blog. So it's a really good way to get all the paper in one package. Ooh, that's shiny silver. But I put just a, like like a little 3/4 of an inch up top here and 3/4 down here, just enough to give it a little something something. And then didn't want to color. These are called Christmas epoxy shapes. You can tell I've been using them already. Little teeny candy canes and ornaments, presents, and stars. Cute little things. So I just added those here and there. So I just did the present to cover up the one down there, a couple ornaments, and then some of these pretty sequins. So no coloring, but there is heat embossing. Definitely get these, guys. These are the adhesive back sparkle sequins. Definitely in the beginning of September when that catalog comes out, grab these because they're adhesive back. They're nice and flat to mail. They are so, so pretty. It's almost like a balmy blue, but it could also go a little turquoisey, red, silver, and then these iridescents. Really pretty. Now this last one has no coloring at all except for golden shimmer pen right here for the star, and this star, that star, and the little present. And I really, really want to color the bird red. I might. This is just stamped in the Secret Sea. And then this paper back here is flocked. This will be coming out in September, but in the online exclusives. So there'll be a whole bunch of other stuff that's not in the catalog like they do. And this is Secret Sea and white snowflakes, but it's flocked, so you can kind of feel it. It's very textural. So they've got this one, and the snowflakes looking one. It's called Winter Dreams. And then there's these little kind of like hard acrylic snowflakes, and like a clear and the Secret Sea, and then a very pretty Secret Sea and gold ribbon. So lots of other things coming at the beginning of September that won't be in the catalog. So this one, all I did, I took 2 inches of that designer paper, I added a little bit of silver along the edges, and then I did the same method using the ruler or my plate. I did the same method, stamped it, cut a triangle out, and I did not color, except for, like I said, these little parts. So I think it's cute. And just the 3 pops of red, because I like things in 3. 1, 2, 3. Still thinking I might color that little red bird, we'll see. I think this would be a really great card when you want to use this stamp but you don't want to color 100 of them. This would be an easy way to go. All right, so there they are, 5. There's that embossed one, fussy cut, and then the torn one. That one's close to being my favorite, and the birthday. Thanks for suggesting this stamp set because I've really had a good time making all of these. We'll see you next time. Stamping School. See it, learn it, stamp it.